Oh yeah, I see that. Um, it's the one going into this laptop. Is this live? Why are they looking up the live stream to YouTube? Yeah. Just like
Folks, if there's an empty seat next to you, please raise a hand. We will be taking off the top.
Oh, see.
Look at me, I got one next to a hot chick.
Hiya, Gus.
Folks, if you've got an empty seat next to you, raise your hand, please. Empty seat, slow, man. Come around. Hey, Gus, Lisa said you don't have to hold the seat for her. She's going to be up front, so you can give away Lisa's seat.
Well, that you got two. You got a twofer here.
Got two, right? Okay. So we've got a couple of seats here. You got a couple of seats here. Come around.
Yeah. I see the beard. I saw the beard. Would you mind if I slip through here? Thank you so much.
Testing.
Okay, if there's anybody with an empty seat, and we're not talking about the empty chair for Stefanik, but keep your hand up or just try and keep your hands up when you get people there and keep that empty seat. Well, folks, you've got a few empty chairs, few empty seats if you want to come on up. I'm going to ask people who are lining the wall here. I'm going to ask you first, let's try to come around more people on that side. Get around that side and come on. Any empty seat? Anybody got an empty seat next to them? Raise your hand. So, okay, there's one back there. Okay. You coming?
Yes, my
Folks, if you want to stand, please come around to that wall.
that one.
Folks, we're just.
No. You should. I think that.
Okay. Folks, we're at standing room here. So if you want to stand, please come around, stand on that side if you can, so we can give people the opportunity to come in.
Well, I'm going to sit up. So when I go there, I'll give you the.
What if we talk a little louder?
Joe, there's another set of microphones that look a little different, and they'll come out of the house speakers.
Okay, and where are those microphones?
The front right.
Front right, okay.
Because that's the speaker I have mic'd up for the stream.
Okay. So on the front right is the microphone.
The gentleman in the head of the front has it.
If anybody needs a seat, there's one right there in the front.
Somebody's still gonna move. Oh, he's standing up. Does anybody want a seat? There's a seat here.
Got one more seat back there that you need.
Do you need a seat? We'll hold it for you. Go around the front.
Go on.
Or, no, come this way. You come this way.
Oh.
Folks, anybody, we have one last seat here.
There's another one down here.
Come on up here, please.
Another one here.
Oh, there's another seat. So we got two seats. Anybody needs to sit down, come on this way. We got two more seats. And
Make that one.
can we squeeze any more along this side? A few more. Please. Okay. So, folks, if you want to stand, we're going to ask a couple people come around to this side and everybody move up. Kind of slide up on that wall. Can we get a couple people come around to this side? And then we got this seat. Is that seat taken back there?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we got one. Okay, this seat's taken. So come on up, stand on this side if you can. Everybody on this side. Folks, we are just about at capacity. So this was organized for all of you by Laura Levitt and within less than a week, a few days, our capacity. What we're going to do is we're going to ask people who are coming who can't fit in here, we're asking them to stand outside with signs. So we've got some extra signs. I see some people have some signs they've already brought in here. So if anybody wants to go outside and hold a sign and empty a seat if you can, or if not, I guess we're just going to get started in a couple of minutes. All right? Now, and by the way, if you need to leave before it's over, there's an exit in that corner as well as that corner. Okay, so those are the two exits. And there's one right here, I guess, the emergency. That's set off the emergency.
Yeah.
We don't want the emergency. Is that set off the alarm? Okay, we're not going to do that. But in case of emergency, there's an exit here. But in non-emergencies, you got exits there or there. Okay, because I know some people had to leave, they don't want to wait. You're able to finger.
There's one over there too.
Yeah, this is an emergency. It'll set off the alarm. Case of fire, not to be confused with the case of life. Go on, slide up as best as you can. Is there anybody standing who, like, really, for medical or whatever reason, really needs to see? Anybody? Is everybody good? Who's standing? Okay, because if you need to, we'll ask somebody to volunteer to get up there and see.
I would.
We got somebody who already volunteered. I'm sure a lot of other nice people here would do. Thank you. Okay, so we're just about at capacity. I guess we're gonna maybe book slide up as best you can so we fit the last few people, then we'll get started. Just anybody can slide up a little more here. There's a few more people here before we get started.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. I apologize for my raspy voice. I am kind of recovering from a little bit of a cold, so bear with me. My name's Laurel. I am the Rapid Action Team Leader for Indivisible Adirondack Saratoga. I want to ask my fellow Indivisible Adirondack Saratoga team members to please stand or raise your hand if you're already standing. I could not have done this without all of their help. They're a wonderful team. I know Joe kind of already went over the emergency exits, so we know that. The bathroom, you can go out and up the stairs and around the corner. It should be up there. If you can't find it, the nice woman at the desk can help you find it.
There's one downstairs too.
There's also one down here. Wonderful. And if you could silence your cell phones, please and thank you. We will be taking photographs, pictures, and video today. So if you do not want to be in any of that, please find a staff member and let us know. If you have any issue you feel uncomfortable or emotional and you need to step away, please find a staff member who can help you. Okay. So, did everyone get a purple card? Yes. Do you guys know what you're doing with the purple card?
No way.
Okay. So, we're going to use that to raise it up in solidarity with other people. So, if you feel touched by their story, or you want them to know that they are seen, please raise your purple card, okay? I have tickets up here that I will pull from for everybody who wants the opportunity to be picked, to share their story, their question, things like that, okay? What we'll do is we'll have people line up on the left and the right. We're doing 6 total, right? So we'll have 3 on the left, 3 on the right. And we do have a timer for the questions and the answers. We're going to give people 3 minutes just so we can try to get everybody to have a chance to speak, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history and explanation of Indivisible if you haven't heard of us before. So action by action, day by day, group by group, Indivisibles are remaking our democracy. Brought together by a practical guide to resist the Trump agenda. Indivisible is a movement of thousands of group leaders and more than 1 million members taking action against the GOP's agenda. Elect local champions and fight for progressive policies. Those are what we are fighting for. As a group, we make calls, we show up, we speak with our neighbors, we organize. We built hundreds of mini movements in support of our local values all across this country. The vision of Indivisible is to create and promote real democracy of, by, and for the people. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I got involved. So I decided to get involved, as I know we the people outnumber the billionaires and oligarchs.
Amen.
I'm trying to bring people together. I want to talk about class solidarity. I want to talk about the important issues that we all face that can bring us all together as one. Whether you're on whatever side of the spectrum is in terms of politics, we all have shared values. I got involved because I know they try to divide us up by class, race, gender, religion, and more. While I know that these issues are important to many people, including myself, what is most important to me, like I said, is bringing people together across the political spectrum, to inspire real change, to educate friends, family, neighbors, coworkers on how they can get involved. We need to start building class consciousness to create real solidarity. I attended my first ever protest/political event here at the Crandall Library in February. That was my first ever event I've attended. So it's never too late to start. At that event, I did not see many young people my age. And that's what I am also trying to work on. I'm calling on younger people to come out, join me. I know you're there. I know you're scared, but if you come out, we're stronger together. Let us not forget that democracy is more than just a system of government. It is a way of life. It requires vigilance, participation, and above all, courage. It demands that we stand together shoulder to shoulder and refuse to be intimidated by those that seek to undermine our rights. At the end of this event, if you would like more info on how to join any Indivisible group locally here in New York, find any of the team members, we can help you. There's other activist groups you can join as well. So, be open-minded. There's many ways you can go about it. I think I'm going to pass it off to Cheryl now.
She is so inspiring. I'm Cheryl Gennady-McGrattan. I actually grew up in Glens Falls and the Lake George area, and my task was to have us do a welcome together. And I thought eating chocolate wasn't going to work, or a collective scream wasn't going to work. So we have 10 questions for you. All right, so here we go. We have so much in common here in this room. Let's start by sharing our similarities and what brings us together in this very divided world. If a statement applies to you, please stand and remain standing if you're able to. Otherwise, you can wave those purple cards. You ready? All right, let's get to know each other. Stand if you are or were a proud government worker or civil servant. Stand. Thank you. Okay. Stand if you're stay standing. Stand if you're currently serving in or are a veteran of our U.S. military. Stay standing. Stand if you or a family member has relied on or currently receives support from federally funded programs such as SNAP, WIC, Medicaid, or Medicare. All right, we're getting to know each other. Okay. Stay standing. Stand if you or someone you know has lost their job or is at risk of losing their job because of DOGE, which I can't believe if it's a verb now, or budget cuts. Okay. All right. Stand if you've ever visited a national park and are worried about the future of our national park. That one was for you, Dan. Stand if you're concerned about the future impacts of rollbacks on environmental protections and cuts to climate research. Stand if you're concerned about ICE mass deportation efforts affecting you, your family, and our community. Stand if, Ellie, this one's for you. Stand if you believe our country should support pro-democracy nations like Ukraine. Stand if you're here today because you're worried about the future of our country. Stand, it's our last one. Stand if you are not a billionaire. All right, look around at the person sitting next to you. Say hello to the person who's sitting next to you. Because these are good noises, but I'm going to ask you to be quiet. As you can see, we are united in our concerns and we have power. And though we may feel very isolated at this current time, we are, in fact, indivisible. I have one last weird request, but we have a reporter here from Vanity Fair, and if you have had nightmares, it's a true then, if you have nightmares or you dream about what we've been talking about, please see me or there you go. There you go. Afterwards. Thank you, and I'm going to turn it back over to Laurel. Thank you so much. So we're going to kind of do a demo with Renee over here to show you guys how this is going to work. Number one.
This question is actually from Ted Peterson. Representative Stefanik, District 21 has about 215,000 people on the Medicaid rolls. The Republican Party is planning to cut federal Medicaid funding by $88 billion a year, a prime target for cuts in the Medicaid expansion offered by the ACA. If the funding for the expansion is pulled and the state of New York does not fill the gap, which it probably cannot, up to 55,000 of your constituents will lose Medicaid coverage. Are you okay with 1 out of every 14 of your constituents losing their insurance coverage? These cuts will also be devastating to rural health care. Are you comfortable with your constituents losing access to emergency rooms and hospitals near where they live?
So I'm picking 6 out of here, 6 numbers. And then when I pick these 6 ticket numbers, I'm gonna have 3 people line up over here on this side, and then 3 people line up on this side over here. See, my first ticket is 2567070. Okay? If you wanna head over to that side. 2567083. Should I go to another number? Is that person here? No. Okay. Put this underneath. 2567079. Perfect. 2567085. Is that person with us, or should I pick another number? 2567081. Is that you? Anybody? Perfect. If you want to head over to that side over there. 2567078. Anybody? No? Yeah? All right, we have 2 more. 2567071. Perfect. Okay, last one. 2567084. Perfect. You want to start with this one?
Dear Representative Stefanik, the funding for the EPA is being drastically reduced, and the arm of the EPA that includes scientists, toxicologists, and climate scientists is being dismantled in its entirety. Do you believe it is the government's responsibility to assure that the water we drink and the air we breathe is free from industry-produced toxins and pollutants? Yes or no? This is a threshold question. And I also want to say for the record to the representative that I have neither forgotten or forgiven her for voting in Alaska in favor of shooting from helicopters, denning wolves and bear cubs for sport.
Speak right into it. Hi, Elise. Sorry you couldn't make it. I don't think you ever have. Okay. Since taking office, Donald Trump has put forth large executive orders that are attempting to. There are 3 branches of government, and you are still our elected, not by me, representative of New York District 21. What are your plans to protect the legislative branch as a separate and equal branch of government? If you do get the UN gig, what will you do to counter Trump's apparent alliance with Putin? Let me point out to you, we do not support Russia. Thank you. One last question. Do you accept as truth the statement that Russia invaded the sovereign nation of Ukraine?
Hey, hello, Elise. I don't believe we've met, ever.
I'm a recent constituent from Cambridge, New York. Recently retired from a 30-year career of international development, mostly under USA projects. And mostly under the democracy and governance portfolio of USAID, which sought to help new and developing nations to understand democratic principles, values, processes, and procedures, including political parties, electoral systems, parliamentary development, local governance, independent judiciary, rule of law, independent media, and civil society empowerment. Proudly, for 13 years, I led a local team in Ukraine in parliamentary development. And we engaged Ukrainians in all of those spheres that we see today, that Ukraine's democracy is strong and that brave Ukrainians are on the front line defending democratic values and principles for all of Europe and the world. Who knew that on this day, I would feel that Ukraine's democracy is stronger than that of the United States of America? My question is that you, having served on the board of the U.S. Institute of Peace and having participated in the House democracy partnerships around the world, what are you doing to exercise the constitutional authority of the U.S. Congress to hold the current executive government to account? You sat on the select subcommittee of the weaponization of federal government. Why have you not called for hearings of the current administration to hold the government accountable to the people and root out the corruption and abuse of the oligarch Elon Musk? Over 50 years. I grew up in Augsburg, New York, which is also in this district. And I just want to know, where are you, Elise? Why aren't you here today? Why aren't you go anywhere when there's a problem? And one of my questions that I've had for quite some time, since January 6th, is why on that day did you say how liable and how awful it was, and now never happened? I just can't figure you out. It's like all of a sudden you become a cult member, and it's very upsetting to me. I also want to say that personally, I have a daughter who, until recently, worked for USAID. But one Friday night, regular work week, got a pink slip, you're done. She's a doctorate in international public health. Wow. She has worked to help many, many women with their problems in Africa and South America. And now that's all down the drain.
They'll get reinstated.
No, get reinstated to be fired again, that's what she hears.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll get reinstated so then they can let them go more lawfully.
Oh, yeah, right.
I also want to say, I'm a proud grandmother of 2 children, and what is our country going to be like? I just fear for them. I want America not to be a totalitarian state run by a dictator that we have now. Thank you. Speaking. Hey Elise, congratulations on your promotion to the most corrupt administration the United States has ever seen. I'm just wondering if you sold your soul to the devil or what, but what's happening in the White House is very sad to, I think, a lot of people here. And it's just unbelievable, really, that I didn't think that, I'm born in Brooklyn. I've lived in South Glens Falls for the past 25 years, raising my children. And I can't believe I had to get off the couch for this. I love my couch. America used to be the greatest country, and now it's like we're heading towards dictatorship. We're heading towards being Russia Junior. Not every Republican is going to be a billionaire. At some point, you're going to reach a point where they just start pushing you off a balcony that's 12 stories high, So you should really think about whether you like democracy or not, And, at what point do we all have to storm the Capitol and, yank Trump out by his wig, I'm just, we have to figure out how to stop this, and maybe we need to, target the Republicans in Congress and, hurt their businesses, hurt their families' businesses, find out how we can affect them so that they honor their oaths to the Constitution, because if Biden did any of the crap that Trump is doing right now, both parties would have impeached him. And Trump and his whole illegal administration needs to be out of there, including South African immigrant Elon Musk, who came here illegally, who by right, by Trump's rules, should be deported, has my social security information. And, I'm just waiting for the phone calls, all the, identity theft that's about to happen for everyone. Thank you.
Elise Stefanik, I hope I'm not getting a lot of boos in this room, but I have to start by thanking you for the support you've given me as Dr. Ruggie all those years and what that's meant for our lives. At the same time, we have forming a coalition, nonpartisan, just to inform all our policymakers about one issue that has huge importance for the people. I'm going to tell you that in a minute. It's Medicaid. It's part of the healthcare system. And the issue is we have 25% of our people depending on Medicare, Medicaid for their healthcare, sometimes life or death. In addition, which I think too many people in Washington don't understand, is if that goes away, healthcare can be compromised for everyone, including all the commercially insured, because we won't have the resources or the money in rural communities to serve everyone. If we don't serve everyone, we can't be there. So I have in response to one question. We informed the coalition half of whom are physicians and other healthcare professionals, the other half being community leaders and supporters, and are hoping at some point you have time to talk to this group that is trying to develop the kind of expertise that would persuade everyone, nonpartisan, about how at least fraud and abuse for Medicaid has to be really well understood so we don't lose our healthcare delivery system. Thank you.
So we still have some more time. I'm going to call on a couple more ticket numbers, okay? We weren't sure how much time it was going to take for each people to get through, so. All right. Yeah, everyone is being great. Thank you so much. So 2567073. Anyone? Yes, perfect. Okay, you can stay right over there. And then 2567066. Anyone? Did anyone, and nobody's that number? Do you want me to repeat it? Yeah? The last three, 066. Anyone? Yeah.
Go one more.
It's definitely Elise's. 2567064. Perfect. Okay, come on over to this side. And we'll start over there with her.
Okay. Hey, Elise. We've been missing you since 2019. You missed 2 entire election cycles. You never showed your face. Your house, however, that you don't live in and may or may not have ever seen, is guarded by an out-of-district police department that the taxpayers are paying for. Yeah, you guys go drive over there and go see, because the cops are sitting out there all the time. We're paying for that. She doesn't live in this district because she was districted or redistricted out of it. That happens. I'm not going to blame her for that one. That's probably the only thing I will never blame her for. In the meantime, she has a district that is enormous, that has a huge amount, and I'm sorry, I don't know the actual number, of people on Social Security, from children that have been orphaned or half orphaned, to children with disabilities, to widows, widowers, to just regular working people that got to the age that you can claim your Social Security that you've been paying into for your entire working life.
Amen.
Possibly from age 14 or older. Apparently, Elise is very comfortable with the fact that should those checks not go out for the first time in 80 years, the cascade effect would be astronomical. If we don't get those checks, we can't pay our bills. We can't pay the electric bill. We can't pay if we have a mortgage or rental. We can't pay a car payment or our grocery bills or our taxes. We are definitely taxed, but not represented. So that cascades down. It's not like that trickle-down thing. It's going to be a waterfall effect of people that cannot pay bills, and that passes directly on to your landlord or your car loan or your doctor bills or not being able to afford to go to the pharmacy and pick up your medication. And apparently Elise is quite comfortable with this. She does not care. She won't tell us that because we never hear from her. Her offices are no longer answering their phones. They don't answer any emails, but we know that she's very comfortable with this because we've heard her say this in the past. But my question to her would be, how many people in this district use Social Security and that are of age to vote? Or are of age to vote and have family members that use Social Security or Medicaid to stay in a nursing home? I'd like her to answer that. I won't get an answer.
Hello, Elise. First of all, I want to mention the reason I'm here. And there's no young people here, so I think I'm privileged to say, I am pissed. I raised 3 sons here in Glens Falls. I've been here for 35 years. I fear for their futures. I fear for our democracy. I've never been to a protest of any kind in my life. This is the sign that I built yesterday. So the 2 questions I have.
What's it say?
First of all, I'm a business person.
What's it say?
Read the sign.
The sign says, oops, sorry, Brad, come on. I want to mess with you. Tax the rich, Putin puppet. I, by the way, have been very successful in real estate. I started with nothing, not $500,000, $500 million, excuse me, and I never abused any of my tenants. But I know business, I understand how it works. You have to cut costs, and I am very much in favor of austerity in this country. I think there's a lot of things that we should be doing, and I know Obama did a lot of things already to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. He did, by the tune of like ridiculous amount of money. But the other thing we need to do is increase revenue. How do we do that? Well, we have these billionaires that build rockets to compete with NASA. Why don't we get some more money out of those folks? And the second thing I would ask you, because these are the 2 most important issues that I have a list that goes on and on. How could we support a puppet of Vladimir Putin? The man is a monster. He's a madman. And you have proven, we all know, I don't know how many people know, but when the Putin puppet, because I don't use the TRUMP letters in my vocabulary, they've been eliminated from my vocabulary. Why did he fail to earn or receive money from banks in the United States? Because no one would support him anymore. He was too risky. So he got the money from, guess who? Mr. Putin in Russia. Well, that's why we are where we are today. He has a debt to pay. He has a relationship. He doesn't care about us. He cares about Putin, the puppet master. So what are you going to do about that, Mrs. Stefanik? Thank you.
I'm gonna pull for a brand new Lexus. Okay, so 065. 065. Oh, good. Okay. Today's your lucky day. 074. 065. 074. Okay, head right over there. And 068. Can go over there. All right. Okay, so we'll start with 065. All right.
Well, I can't, that's a tough act to follow, but I have a much sort of smaller question, but it hits home. They cut, Trump and Musk cut $1 billion program, which is not big in the federal system, but provided locally grown food for schools and for food pantries. What could that possibly be about? I mean, waste, fraud, and abuse, it's a win-win. Kids get good food, people in need get good food, and you create a market, a bottom for farmers. This is an agriculture. It just makes no sense. So Elise fix it.
Okay, a question over here.
Okay, thank you. So Elise, hello, or not. So Commerce Secretary and billionaire Howard Lutnick said that if someone, I know, says that if someone misses their Social Security check, which has never happened, by the way, but so much for government efficiency, right? They're committing fraud. So I'm going to ask the audience right now, how many of you are affected by Social Security? Please raise. Whoa, all right. And how many of you, if you missed a check, would you be considered fraudulent? So obviously people here need their Social Security Representative Stefanik, and I say representative very, very loosely. So, do you agree with Mr. Ludnick's view of your constituents, or do you believe your constituents? Just a question. And I'll wait for the answer someday. Thank you.
Excellent. Over on this side.
Dear Elise, I am one of the many constituents you claim to represent while continuing to vote against my best interests. Who am I? I am a recently rehired federal worker who works remotely from her home here in your district. I am a public service worker for more than 2 decades who has seen the effects of hunger firsthand. One of the thousands of people in the North Country who worked through a COVID pandemic, in my case ensuring hundreds of kids had nutritious food to eat when the schools shut down. Someone with years of experience in administration, policy, and procedures who after just 7 weeks on the job was told that, to quote, "You have not demonstrated that your further employment at the agency would be in the public's best interest." My job specifically helps state agencies feed preschool children in Head Start programs and assist low-income families with groceries in summer months. Please explain to me how exactly it is that my employment is not in the public interest. As our representative in Congress, I am sure you are aware of the numbers that reflect the impact of hunger in our community. 1 in 3 households in New York State relies on SNAP, and those households contain children. 3 in 4 containing household members, despite what everybody says, who actually do work outside the home, but don't make enough to actually put food on their tables. 14% of rural households rely on SNAP every month to feed themselves. Republicans are planning a $230 billion cut to the SNAP program by 2034. They already have cut hundreds of millions of dollars by eliminating the program we just discussed, the local food purchase assistance that has devastated emergency food banks and pantries in our area. While you stand up for your people and stop Congress from taking food out of the mouths of hungry constituents in your district just to pay for the billionaires' tax cuts.
Amen.
Congress has also proposed cutting $12 billion in funding from the National School Lunch Program, which will impact almost 2,000 school districts in New York State alone. This is on top of the money already withdrawn with the cancellation of the local Food for Schools program, which we just discussed, benefiting both New York children and farmers and producers. It encouraged the consumption of locally grown, healthy, delicious food in our school meal programs. Finally, 1 in 5 children in this country go to bed hungry every single night. They come to school the next day in need of a good breakfast and a lunch to help them learn and grow. Are you willing to tell those children in your district that tax cuts for the wealthy are more important? We have a responsibility in this country where there is plenty of food for everyone and no one should ever go hungry to help the most vulnerable among us. The cuts already made to the USDA programming are devastating, subtracting billions of dollars more from the nutrition programs that are the backbone of our safety net, renege on the promise of America, and will do untold damage to people across this country, including the people in your district who have counted on you to protect them and make their lives better. Who stands up for us if not our representative?
More questions? You guys doing okay? All right. It's getting warm. All right. In many ways. 080. All right, excellent. You want to go right over there? Okay. 069. Your lights are on. Just kidding. Thanks for laughing at that joke. 076. 076. Okay. 082. 082. Okay. 086. No. Okay. 063. No. Okay. Oh, we got one. Okay, excellent. Okay. 072, did I already say 072? Okay. Come on up. 067.
Yeah.
All right, come on over here. Okay, why don't you start?
Okay. I have a daughter who has invested 9 years into the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, administered through the Department of Education. She only has 1 year left before being granted loan forgiveness. The Trump-Musk administration has thrown the Department of Education into chaos, and the Public Service Student Loan Program is in limbo. My daughter has faithfully honored her public service loan forgiveness contract. What, Elise, are you going to do to ensure that the Trump-Musk administration does the same?
Dear Elise, this isn't a question, this is just my military family story. As you can see from the USS Connecticut, my son is a submariner. My son, who currently serves his country, needed critical care, and also my grandson needing critical pediatric care. He was met with neglect, endless wait times, dismissive doctors, and a maze of bureaucracy. He volunteered his blood, sweat, and tears to be treated like a number, not a patient. All active duty have TRICARE. This insurance does not cover out-of-network providers. My son's condition needed immediate treatments by specialists he could not get. My son is set to retire as a disabled veteran in June. He will face almost no care due to DOGE cuts. The treatment during and now is disgusting. This is his voice and the many today. I'm here to stand for him and all family members of the military and veterans. Leaders need to start listening and acting for us families and veterans and not cave into this draft-dodging dictator.
Hello. I'm as old as Joe Biden. I'm a parent, a grandparent, and a great-grandparent. Elise, the people of New York recognize that you've been nominated to represent the U.S. at the United Nations. And we can't help wonder what the hell you're going to do there. You certainly didn't represent us when you were in Congress. Are you going to try to sell MAGA to the United Nations? Good luck. Trump's foreign policy is not being well received, except in Moscow. Imagine speaking before that world body only to realize your audience finds your words foolish, stupid, and dangerous. Is that what you had in mind for your future? Is Trump's worldview what you really want to be promoting at the UN? The world doesn't need another MAGA sycophant. You and your MAGA cronies have done great harm to ordinary Americans who are about to see their lives get harder, losing jobs, health care, educational opportunities, and hope for their futures, all to fund unnecessary tax cuts for corporations and super wealthy. It's not too late to say no and save yourself and the country a lot of embarrassment. My friend Mary couldn't make it here today, but she wanted to know, Elise, presumably you're supporting the Trump cabal as they dismantle the education department. Are you also going to support them when they pull us out of the UN? And I have one more comment. Last night I read something that was really troubling, but suddenly made sense. All of this stuff we're seeing them do doesn't make sense. It's just destructive. but I read an article by Tom Hartman called Dark Enlightenment. Tom Hartman, Dark Enlightenment. Look it up. It's very frightening, but it suddenly makes everything clear.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay, great. Thank you.
He wasn't gonna let that happen.
Hello, I'm John. I've lived here, my wife and I, Debbie, have lived here since '84. And I've written Elise, I've called on the phone, and I will say I actually got an answer from a nice gentleman who was very polite. His name was Henry. I heard him take down every word I said, but I haven't heard anything from her. And she closed the Glens Falls office. I want to know why. So where are you, Elise? I also just invited her, said, we want to invite you to a town hall in Glens Falls or Saratoga. No answer. And my wife and I depend on Medicare and Social Security. Like everybody else, we paid in there. Ever since I was 15, I paid in. So I told her, I would like my money back. The benefits. And I said, somebody talked about paying your electric bill, but I don't know. I haven't had any interruption yet, but am I gonna have to go out and work again? I've been on disability since 2011. My wife's still working. She's 68. She probably won't stop working. But we still have a mortgage. Not much, but what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? $80 billion cuts in Social Security. And by the way, it's a total lie that there's people 200 and 300 getting checks.
We have 3 questions left. And then we'll take a couple of questions from the normies that don't have the ticket, magic blue tickets. All right, so I'm looking for 077. Oh, perfect. Come on over here. I'm also looking for 075. Do I have 075? Oh, perfect. Okay. And then 067.
067 was me.
Oh, that was you. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Then I got a 064. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have 2 left. Okay. Why don't we start over here?
So Representative Stefanik.
Okay.
Don't go to the lights.
Yeah, don't go.
I want to go to the Representative Stefanik, like most Americans, I would welcome thoughtful, careful, accountable, transparent, and nonpartisan efforts and actions to curtail actual waste, fraud, and abuse of government spending, as long as it ensures the security of sensitive information at all levels, including ours, and the ability of government agencies such as the CDC, the Social Security Administration, NOAA, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, and so on, to continue their important work to serve and support U.S. taxpayers. In fact, the General Accounting Office and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of the Inspector General have issued a wide variety of reports in 2024 and earlier, including during President Trump's first term, that highlight specific sources of waste, fraud, and abuse, and provide specific recommendations that would address the issues
produce substantial savings and improve efficiency. Given the availability of these reports that taxpayers paid for, please tell me why Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire who is also a federal contractor who has received billions of dollars in federal contracts, has unfettered authority to indiscriminately fire federal workers, slash agency budgets with no oversight, no transparency, and no accountability to the taxpayer. Why do you and other Republican members of Congress stand by and do nothing? At the very least, isn't this a conflict of interest? Thank you for your time. I hope we provide an answer.
Okay, over here.
Hi, I find it apropos that we're talking a piece of cardboard, as we have been for years. And that's, we all know one thing, she's gone. We're not even in her rearview mirror anymore. I mean,
Carpet bag.
She doesn't pay much attention then, she's certainly not paying attention to any of this now. So we're talking to a piece of cardboard. However, an election is coming up, and that seat's gonna be filled. We know just by driving around this area and all the way up into the North Country, you see an awful lot of Elise signs. It's a very red area. And she gets in, God knows how, but she gets in. We have a hell of an opportunity here. This is an opportunity to get them out of that seat. We've got very strong two Republican candidates, Constantino, I guess, and Steck, both of whom are going to get a ton of money from the GOP. Fight them, fight them, fight them. Ask them the questions we're asking this piece of cardboard. Do it right after the election day, because they don't have answers.
All right, is there any other ticket that I called that didn't speak? Okay. All right, so we're gonna ask you to, if you have a question, we're gonna take 4 questions right now. We have 2 microphones, so please raise your purple card or raise your hand, and we'll get a microphone to you. Oh, go to the microphone. Go to the microphone, I'm being told. Go to the light. Go to the microphone.
Right up to my mouth, okay. Elise, you have never done the morally correct thing for our constituents. I have no faith that you will. My question is not a question, it is a demand. These people, your constituents, you work for us. It's not the other way around, and we demand these things. We're not gonna wait, we're not gonna ask questions, we are demanding our rightful Social Security taxes to be paid by people that made their money on the backs, the sweat, the blood, the tears of people. The Amazon workers, the Walmart workers, all of them. You have no right, none.
Or do we have another person who's at the microphone? Okay, great.
What an awesome crowd. Where's Laurel? Laurel? Hi. Hey, I don't want to contradict you, but I want to contradict you. You said in your first speak when you were up at the podium that you were disappointed that there aren't young children involved. Well, let's face it, young kids are going to do what young kids want to do. But not to brag, I want to let you know that my wife, my grandchildren, plural, and myself were active way back when we were protesting Centennial Circle when Elise had her little office over at the circle. They are out there. They are out there. And the second thing I want to say to keep, to be positive about this is there's no doubt that in my mind that the next 4 years are going to be tough. We all know this. We've accepted it in one way or another. But one thing I know in the depths of my heart is that somehow, I don't know how, we're going to get through this. All right? We're going to find unity, we're going to find cooperation, and we're going to find common ground that we can bring our country back to the greatness that it was.
Go right ahead. Yep.
How's everybody? We have a little dog here. I love animals. This is a group of very sensitive, concerned people with compassion, with love and fear and responsiveness and being responsive. There's one group that we never mention that we are all in relation to. And I think most people are going to find it a little difficult to say where I'm going with this. There are sentient beings that are not appreciated or treated with respect. And that this responsibility doesn't affect just them. It affects the environment, our well-being. And if you haven't figured out where I'm going with this, it's the other non-human beings on this planet. Some people just think the animals are important and need more attention than we get. But what we do to all life on this planet is connected. What we do to the animals has an effect on the human beings as well. We're talking about 10 billion sentient creatures in this country alone that are treated as bad as you can possibly think. A lot of people don't know that. Some people do. How many people do know about the disrespect for sentient creatures that are not human? And how many people care about it? I'm surprised to see so many people do that. How many people here are vegetarians or vegans? Not so many. I've been a vegetarian and a vegan for over 50 years. I'm 84. Okay, I don't have a half an hour yet to go. But it's something I think about every day because I hear about it in the news, and I hope you all think about it a little more when you go to the supermarket and you think about your own health and the health of other sentient, loving, responsible creatures. Thank you.
I served in the nuclear Navy, and I spent a career at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission overseeing the nuclear plants that operate all through the Northeast. Early on, after Trump was first elected, I was in conversation with Elise's office frequently, and with concerns about national security. And when I say national security, it's not just armaments, it's all of the things that make this country strong, which go way beyond just armaments. Elise asked me to come in and speak to her, and I did. My wife went with me. I had in my hand a report by the intelligence community, a report by one of the think tanks in Washington, which talked about the Kremlin playbook, and I urged her, in her position on the Select Committee on Intelligence, to really take action to counter Russian threats and the like. And she nodded her head. She said yes. She sponsored something called the Vladimir Putin Transparency Act. You can look it up. My wife, honestly, when we were leaving, she said, Congresswoman, my husband and I get up in the middle of the night, we look at each other and we ask, is it possible that this narcissistic, erratic, guy is president of the United States. Does that not bother you? And she looked both ways. She said, don't go out and tell the press this, but yes. Now, what happened? Why did she flip? She flipped, obviously. And I wrote a couple op-eds in the Times Union to speak to this, but it's clear she flipped for, among other reasons, the threat that has enabled this president to lock down one party. Absolutely, totally. So what will stop him? What will stop him? Now, we have to rely on the courts.
That's right.
And thank God, among other things, Amy Coney Barrett ruled on the side of law. But here's my point. I got 30 seconds. It's real simple. What's going to help stop them is electing the right people. And the comment I made before, it's good to sit here in this room and talk. We need to take action. And in my view, it is critical that we support Blake Dendenby.
Hello, Elise. Oh, there you are, or not. I want to know what you are going to do to keep this community safe. I want to introduce you to my rainbow uterus. I make LGBTQ plus babies, and I want all of my gays to be safe. What are you going to do?
Okay, we're doing okay. What we're gonna do is if you'd like to speak, we're gonna ask you to line on each side and we'll take your questions or comments. Oh, sure.
Thanks. This is, I've recently joined the Indivisible group as to help out with their arm that has to do with health problems in our health system. I'm a PhD MD from a very good school, and I was at the top of my class. And I spent quite a few years as an NIH grantee and served on the review committees for other people's grant requests, as well as the oversight committees that were allowed grantees who weren't funded to be appealed, to appeal their failure to get funded. Then I served on the Recombinant DNA Advisory Committee. That is a committee that looks at gene therapy initiatives and advises the NIH director about whether they are not too dangerous and whether they're worthwhile doing. So I have a lot of experience with NIH, but as a biologist also, I have a PhD in biology. I have a lot of involvement in the issue of the environment and climate change. Climate change is a problem of the scope of which is very difficult for most people to contemplate. Those who really understand how serious a problem this is, they're probably as scared as I am. But the thing I wanted to say about what's going on today, I've always been very politically active. In fact, I met Martin Luther King. I was quite active in those days, trying to give black people an opportunity to vote without getting their children killed in a church bombing. And the scope of the problem we face here is very serious. It's comprehensive, it's deep, and it's broad. The business standard said one way to balance your budget is to raise revenue. That is definitely one of our problems. We need to tax people with more money, with the kind of money. Last year, Section 1 made $2.4 billion and paid no tax. In 2018, 10 Fortune 500 companies made a total of $78 billion and paid no taxes. So we need more revenue from them. We need to convince more younger people that they do have a future. I have two children who look at the world and it's hard for them to understand how there's anything they can do about it. What I tell them is, when you think there's nothing you can do, that's when you work even harder. Because what is your other option? What is your other option? Give up? We're not gonna give up. And I think one of the things we as an indivisible group, I hope I've recently joined to influence them into the goal of the following. Become powerful enough, strong enough, and numerous enough to show these Congress people that no matter how much money Elon Musk may give them to win an election, they're not going to win anyway because we're going to convince the voters to vote for what is right. What Musk has been doing is he's saying, I'm going to give millions to anybody who agrees with me, and he thinks money can buy elections. We have to prove to these people that that is not true. That's all I have to say for now. But believe me.
I don't even want to say hello. The fact is, I understand after going through all this, that these people who are in these positions don't see people. They see what they want to do, they see their ambition, but they don't see you, they don't see me, they don't see people. So it doesn't bother them. So we're the ones that have to do the work and support the people who do the work. I have a son he's 42 years old, he has disabilities all his life. He gets Medicaid, not much, but his program gets Medicaid, which supports what he does every day. His friends are in that community. If that goes away, he doesn't have a chance to go over to somebody to have a play date or anything. He stays home. And of course, we'll run him around, whatever. But there are plenty also who have parents who are working and depend on that program for them to be in. His friends are in that program. He loves that program. He does not like Stefanik, not like Trump. And he says so all the time, so we have to sort of be careful where he says it. But I know these people who work with the disabled, whether they're young or old, are phenomenal people who get paid crap. And those salaries should go up, and that's where the savings should go to, is those people. Also, I've lost my train of thought. See, I'm getting older also, so I depend on Social Security. And my husband does speak much better than I do at this. But we have a wonderful community in Greenwich, and we really work very hard. We work together. We see each other. We trust each other. We are the white lights that are going to take this country back. And that's all I see when I see all these things going on around the country. We have all these dark spirits doing these things. I know you can believe what you want, but they're nasty people who don't see people. And we are the white lights. We're going to go above that together and beat these people and bring our country back and keep our country good and safe. We are the people we trust. We trust each other.
Okay, we have a question over here.
Thank you very much. So these have been great comments tonight, or this afternoon. I want to raise a new one because it's very, very dear to the hearts of those of us who live here in the North Country. And that is the degradation and diminution of the USA's representation in the free world. We are no longer the leaders of the free world because we go north 3 hours to the Canadian border. Who in this room would feel comfortable driving to Canada today the same way they would have last November? Raise your hand if you feel comfortable. No one. Who would even feel comfortable coming back and showing your passport and showing your phone? Oh my God, you actually wrote a text message that criticized the administration? We need to withhold, we need to detain you for a little while, right? We are not the representative of the free world if we go down this path. Now, what's going to happen? Who's going to fill that void? Putin, China, India, they're gonna fill the void. They got lots of money. So Elise, you worthless human being. You sit there and you pretend to care about the people in this country. You don't protect our borders. You don't protect the people in the country. You don't support the programs that feed the poor, take the food away from the kids in school and give it to the SpaceX program, which already has plenty of money. And I like SpaceX. But guess what? Not when he's running it. I want it to be run by the government. And the reality is we're going down the wrong path. But I really worry about our standing. I don't know when we'll ever be able to leave the confines of USA again and feel we're amongst friends. Right now, we are, let's face it, we are a bad, bad partner, right? And that's very unfortunate.
Just to let you know, we have a couple of seats that have opened up. So if those of you who are, raise your hand if you've got some seats. Okay. And then, there you go. And then we have a question over here.
Hello, Elise. I'm one of your constituents. I live in Warrensburg. You should know where that is. It's in your district. I have seen you twice in our town. The first time during our annual Halloween parade, where all the little kids get out of school early and they get to walk down the center of town wearing their cute little costumes, and you got to sit with the town supervisor at the head of the parade in the antique fire truck, and it made a great photo op. But then, when those same little kids, had their SNAP program under threat, you did nothing. When the Department of Education is getting shut down for those kids, not a peep from you. The second time I saw you was at our town's annual 9/11 memorial at the Floyd Bennett bandstand. And all of the candles glowing and all of those firemen standing there. And again, it made a great photo op. But when they wanted to take, people from your party wanted to take the funding away for the 9/11 responders, not a peep from you. So as your constituent, I want to ask you, please stop using my town as a place for your photo ops. Yeah. When you're not going to do anything to help the people who live there. I also want to let all of you know, I'm the team leader for the Flip NY21. And at our next monthly meeting, we are going to have gender being signed.
Okay, so we are going to go for, hold on. We're going to go for 10 more minutes, and then Laurel is going to wrap it, close it up. Okay, that sounds good? Okay. We have a question over here.
I guess my question is, in the last election, presidential election, 36 million people who were registered did not vote. We don't need to get that many of those people to change the mandate.
Oh, yeah,
Some people
right.
think they have. So, and that includes in this district, we need to target the people who are not voting and get them to vote. And we need to target the people who are not registered, but who are eligible to get off their butts and also go out and vote. Because I don't think we're gonna get registered Republicans, not enough of them, to change their mind. So there's plenty of people to go after to get them to vote in the right direction. Thanks.
And we have a question over here. We're so excited to hear what you have to say.
Why does he try to make every kid like me have no education at all? He's stopping him? Why?
You did a great job. Finn, thank you so much.
Good job, Finn.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Hi, my name is Angela Lamar, and I live in Lake George. I'm a veteran. You know, the people your orange God calls losers and suckers.
Thank you for your service.
I'm an American. I was a medic while I served my country. When I got out of the Army, I stayed in the medical field. Back then, in the 80s and 90s, HIV and AIDS was killing every human being who acquired the virus. I watched my patients suffer unimaginable pain and agony until their disease finally took them. I will never forget looking into the eyes of my patients, knowing there was nothing I could do except to hold their hand. Their fear, desperation, and sorrow I witnessed is something I will never forget. Around the mid-90s, I started to see patients that had literally been on their deathbed suddenly appear healthy. I didn't even recognize them. It was called the cocktail. It was literally saving lives. Everything changed. I couldn't believe it. It was a miracle. Flash to today, we all know HIV is no longer a death sentence. Because of medications, humans are no longer dying. They're no longer suffering unimaginable pain, and they're able to live. Trump and Musk are taking away access to these medications from humans around the world and humans in our own country. What are you doing, Stefanik? Why did you relinquish your congressional powers to your orange king? When you relinquished your power to Trump, you relinquished our power too. How dare you? Then you don't even have the nerve to face us. You're nothing but a self-serving sycophant. What are you doing to protect our Social Security from King Musk? Why are you allowing them to steal our data? Why are you allowing USAID to fail? Why are you allowing the VA to be destroyed? I'm lucky enough not to need my VA benefits right now, but I have needed them in the past, and I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have them. But I do have plenty of friends who desperately need their VA benefits that were promised to us when we took our oath to protect and defend the Constitution of these United States. We honored our oath. You, Stefanik, have not. I watched you cheer your orange God while he stood in front of Congress shouting lie after lie. You know better. Why are you allowing Musk and Trump to turn our country into Russia? Why aren't you speaking up for Ukraine, the real heroes? Why don't you speak up? Why did you speak up when your orange God? Pardon the J6 felons. You know, the rioters we saw you cowering from on the floors of our congressional hall. You no longer think for yourself or your constituents. You only spew what comes out of Trump's sick mind and mouth. You are a disgrace. You're not a role model for young women. You're not an independent. You are a Trump sycophant, and we all know it. Okay. Finally, my 82-year-old mother is living in fear. All she has is her Social Security. My mother still has to work as a school bus aide at 82 years old. We know what you're doing, Stefanik. And if and when you allow them to destroy Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, this country will collapse. What is the point of all of these actions? Why are you allowing them to destroy us? We need real representation. Who isn't afraid to face us? If you're so proud of this administration, why aren't you here facing us and explaining how this insanity is making America great again?
Okay, we have time for one more question. Okay.
I don't actually have a question, just a couple of quick comments. And I think we can sum up a lot of what this lady just said with kind of, Elise, sadly, you have been a very terrible waste of human skin. I've listened to Trump since 2015 when he was on the campaign trail the first time. And the first time I watched this man in debate with any of the other candidates, he disparaged every single one of them. He loves to use names. What are we, in 7th grade again? So I don't refer to him anymore by his name or his other buddies. I use rump and muck. And just so you are aware, this to kind of sum up some of what's been going on, rump and muck continue to take a wrecking ball to your income, your health care, your education, your social security, your social safety nets, your veterans benefits, your free speech, your right to equal representation in the courts. And just look at the court cases that are going on right now with that administration. Your right to equal recognition by the government. Americans have the right to criticize, to hold unpopular beliefs, to protest, and to think for themselves. It is high time that we all stop being tools and victims of totalitarian techniques. Techniques that, if continued here unchecked, will surely end what we have come to cherish as the American way of life. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was written by Margaret Chase Smith of Maine in 1950 regarding the McCarthy. Right. She was the only one in the Senate when McCarthy was wreaking havoc to stand up to him. And that was her quote. We've already heard about Howard Lugnut, so I won't comment on that. If you haven't seen the clip of him regarding Social Security payments and about his mother-in-law, his 94-year-old mother-in-law, she wouldn't care if she didn't get her check. It wouldn't matter to her. It would only matter if you're a fraudster. That's right. It's already been addressed here today. I don't see a fraudster in the room. I read people reasonably well. So, thanks, Elise, for a big fat nothing.
Okay. All right, just 2 more things, and then I'm going to hand it back over to Laurel. I want to thank everyone for your wonderful, wonderful questions. I want to thank you for showing up. And when people say, "What are we doing to fight this?" Think about today. And you were here, so thank you for everyone who showed up. You know that we invited Elise to come today, and surprisingly, she did not. But if you would indulge me, I would like us all to say hello to Elise, and we will make sure that she sees it. And I disagree. I think she is watching. So on the count of 3, can we all say hello to Elise? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now, the last thing that I'll ask you to do before I hand it over to Elise is, she is leaving us. And, Laurel, did I say that? Oh my gosh! Wouldn't that be funny if she was here? Surprise! The last thing, we no longer will have a representative, and this is our chance to say goodbye to Elise. So if you wouldn't mind, if we could just say goodbye, Elise, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. over to Laurel, Elise Laurel. Before I do, this was her leap of faith, and she worked tirelessly to make sure that this ran well. Could we have a round of applause? And there's an entire team supporting her. There's an entire indivisible team supporting her. Can we have a round of applause for all of them? Excellent. So I'm going to hand the mic back over to our wonderful host for this afternoon, Laurel. Thank you, everyone. Charlie Ann and I are going to sing a song here in a second. It's a sing-along, so we're going to invite everyone to join us, okay? But before we do that, I have something I want to say to Elise. Who here is from Fulton County? Anyone? That's where I'm from. Thanks for being here. Let me pull up my receipt for Elise. So, I wanted to ask Elise why, in her UN hearing, to be confirmed, that she defended the Elon Musk Nazi salute. She defended that. How dare you? How dare you do that? Shame. Shame! This is America. That is unacceptable. Thank you.